Hello students and welcome to my research and methodology class. My name is Molly and I will be your instructor for this semester. In this video, I would like to dive a little deeper into what we will be doing this semester. This lecture contains 3 sections in which 4 or more main topics will be discussed. In the first section, I will introduce the meaning of scientific research. In the second section, I will address how to prepare for the process of research. And in the third, I will address conducting and documenting an effective research study. Just as an FYI, I tried to put as much information as possible in this lecture. There will be more video lectures that are pertaining to weekly assignments. I just wanted to provide a brief overview of the course in this lecture. This specific video will focus on weeks 1 through 6 topics. There will be a lot of information in this video, so I recommend having a pen and paper ready to take notes. Also, for the convenience of students, I have also made a PowerPoint presentation version that you can review as needed. To start off with, I would like to address these topics which we will be focusing on. Defining scientific research, different types of scientific research, the methods, proper steps, and criteria needed for scientific research, and research ethics and misconduct. Now, there are some things that you will need before starting your research. In this class, I will address the elements needed to create a research problem, pick a research design, and obtain sample for it. I will also address the proper way to write a research proposal in order to secure funding needed for research. To summarize, during the first few weeks, the focus will be on research problem, formulation, research design, sampling, and writing research proposal. In the world we live in, there are always problems that need solutions and questions that need to be answered. When problems or questions arise, our minds begin to automatically go into the thinking stage in order to find the answer or solution. The thinking stage turns into the formulation stage, that is to use to develop the answer or solution. When we go through the process of collecting data, analyzing data, and interpreting data, this is considered a scientific research. The benefit of scientific research is that it helps answer the posed question and solve the presented problem. This gives it the opportunity to test the hypothesis and gain new knowledge to implement into research. The following topics will also be addressed in this course: data collection, data processing and analysis, data presentation, research report writing. In this portion, we will review the proper way to conduct and record your research. There are many ways that data can be collected, and in this course, we will be reviewing those methods. It is also important to analyze the findings of the research study. So in this class, I will be showing you how to analyze the data that you have collected to determine whether or not it will be of use for your research study. Once the data is analyzed, it is now time to present that information accordingly. Another lesson offered in this course is meant to prepare you to write a research report which should be ethically sound and meet the COCREP standards. Methods of scientific research. There are 4 essential methods that should be considered when conducting scientific research. They include the following: operation, observation, model, and utility function. Operation is considered the research question to be asked. Observation is the person who is conducting the research. The model is the actual theory or hypothesis that is being used in a specified way. The utility function is considered the tool that is being used and its elements. Criteria of scientific research. When it comes to scientific research, there is specific criteria that must be met. It is important for the research to happen in a controlled space so that the results are not hindered in any way. Scientific research must be relevant, appropriate, and all tools used must be reliable. A scientific research study should follow a specific systematic order that makes most sense. The results of the study should have information that is both valid and can be proven when reviewed. The information should also come from reliable empirical resources. It is critical that there is a methodology that can be proved. Steps in scientific research. There are steps that should be taken in scientific research. Those steps include the formulation of the research question or problem, reviewing the literature in an extremely important step to research. You must develop the research hypothesis, picking a research design. You must also review your results by testing your hypothesis. The data must be analyzed. The results need to be interpreted. And finally, you must prepare and present the findings. Introduction to research and design. The research design is important to the end results of the research studies. It is used to collect and analyze all data from your research study. Your research design should help you collect relevant data using specific technique. The research design determines the reliability of the results. The research design will help provide direction. And finally, the research design will be crucial in documenting your response for further review. A good research design will meet the following criteria: objectivity, reliability, validity, general, openness, flexibility, and efficiency. Introduction to research and methodology. It is important to choose a research method that is appropriate. Choosing the wrong method can hinder the results. There are some steps that need to be taken to gather valid results, and they are the following. First and foremost, the research question is the most important. This needs to be asked, but first needs to be formulated. Then you should make a sound decision on the research design. Then you go through the sampling, the selection. You write the research proposal, collect the data, process the data, and finally write the research report. Research ethics. Ethics is another important factor when conducting research. It is of ethical value that we conduct ourselves with the highest standards of ethics in mind. Ethical considerations should be used as a moral guide when conducting research. There are certain procedures that need to take place to ensure ethical practice. For example, if you are going to study human behaviors, this means you will need human data, so you would need to speak to humans. So that, therefore, an informed consent would be required. Scientific research ethics include honesty and integrity, objectivity, data analysis and precision, the validity of the results, the credibility of the sources used in the research, humane treatment of the participants, preserving all participant rights, protecting participant information, openness, and social responsibility. Research misconduct. It is important to know what can be considered research misconduct so that you are able to avoid it. Research misconduct includes the falsification of research material, the fabrication of research material, and plagiarism. Falsifying information is when information is withheld or altered to benefit the individual researching and the results. Fabrication is adding information that has no truth to it to alter the results. Plagiarism is when you use someone else's work and fail to credit them by not using citations or references and trying to pass the work off as your own. Formulating research question. There are steps that should be taken in the formulation of the research problem. The research problem should be easily identifiable, with a clear understanding of what is being researched. You must also assess the research problem thoroughly for any errors or inconsistencies. When trying to formulate a research problem question, you need to plan ahead as far as time availability and level of expertise in this topic. The first step would be to review the literature, as this is where you will find resources to help with the question. Literature review. When reviewing literature, you are exploring articles that were previously published by past professionals. The literature is filled with resources that can be used to answer a variety of research questions. This step is important to begin the research process. The function of the literature review provides a theoretical background and helps direct and connect present and past knowledge. The benefits of reviewing literature helps clarify your research problem, improve the research method, expands your knowledge, and connects your finding with past knowledge. I do want to mention that when reviewing literature, it is important that you search for studies that are within your scope of practice. For example, it would not make any sense for a dentist to conduct a research study on open heart surgery, because that is not the scope of his profession and would not feed into that profession. He also does not have the knowledge necessary for this type of profession. Also, make sure that you select studies that are relevant for the research problem. It is best to always review your work to make sure that everything makes sense as far as writing and literature that is chosen. Then you should both develop your theoretical and conceptual framework. Good places to search for literature are scientific journals, books, and online. Reviewing literature can help you find various relevant resources. You can find the gap in the literature for your field of study. It will literally keep you up to date and more equipped to research successfully. Now, why is it important to formulate a research question? The research problem is by definition the question you want answered or inconsistency you want to explore. The interesting thing is that you need to have prior knowledge in order to create a question. Then once created, you can begin to choose tools to help you investigate topic further. This is why it is so important to investigate within your scope of practice. When you are researching within your scope of practice, you will understand better what you are attempting to ask. Having previous knowledge is imperative in the formulation of the research question. A well-formulated research question is one that you understand well and is within the scope of your practice and facilitates answering the question. Remember that research problem serves as the foundation to your investigation. The problem must be clear so that you know what you are looking for to help answer the question at hand. When a research question is formulated properly, it will assist you in choosing the study design, choosing the sampling strategy, choosing the instrument for research, and choosing the type of analysis. As a reminder, please always ensure that you are using proper citations and references when conducting research to avoid plagiarism. As mentioned above, when you are formulating a research problem, please consider your interest, your capacity, the relevance, level of expertise, available data, and research ethics. To get a little bit more in depth, you should identify the area you would like to research. This keeps your attention on the topic. Once identified, you should divide the area of interest into sub-areas to help you research question possibilities. This will help you in the topic selection process. Review your research question and begin to formulate your objectives. Lastly, assess the feasibility, meaning implement time management and resource possible limitations. The research objective is a problem you are trying to solve or a question you need answered. Research objectives can be divided into two parts: general objectives and specific objectives. The general objective is the overall goal you are trying to accomplish, while the specific objective focuses on the specific elements of the study. Variables. Now I would like to briefly speak about the variables needed to measure a research study. Variables can be measured included age, gender, weight, height, and so on. While on the other hand, thought between two people is impossible to measure. That is why a research hypothesis can be considered an assumption or question about a topic that is yet to be proven but is of interest. This is how you will be able to prove or disprove your research dilemma. A research hypothesis consists of two or more variables that function by identifying specific areas of the research problem, clarifies the data needed to be collected, enables your focus on research objectives, and defines the point that you are trying to make. Research hypothesis. The hypothesis should be easily understood and specific to the topic. The question itself should be clear and the hypothesis should be verifiable. It should also be linked to existing literature within the field. Test your hypothesis. The next step will be to test your hypothesis by formulating the assumption/question, collection of the data needed and evidence to support, then analyze the data to facilitate the identification of the conclusion. Now remember, there's always room for error, so error in results. Now there are mistakes that can occur during research study that should be avoided to minimize chances of results being hindered. Those errors include the following. A type 1 error is equivalent to a false positive, meaning that the results showed your point of view or assumption was correct, but in reality, it is incorrect. Then there is type 2. A type 2 error is equivalent to a false negative, when your hypothesis has been proven wrong, when in reality it is correct. A research design must be completed correctly so it can clearly show the following: the method you used in your research study, the population you chose for your study, the sample size, how many people will participate in the study, and the method of data collection and who will be collecting this information. The research design should have the following elements: the study design, measurement being used, the sample strategy, data analysis strategy, and the time frame intended to complete research. Quantitative and qualitative study design. There are two types of study designs that can be used, and they are quantitative and qualitative study design. Quantitative study design is more based on numbers and therefore more reliable, valid, and verifiable, while qualitative is based on opinion or interpretation, making it less reliable or verifiable. There is also a mixed method, which we'll get into further down the line. Now, sampling. Sampling is a selection process in which you choose the participants that meet the criteria for your research study. It is important to choose carefully, as making the wrong choice could hinder research study. It is also important to remain unbiased. When personal beliefs get in the way of research, the results can become irrelevant. Here is a tip before conducting research. Be aware of what you already know, but be prepared to alter your perception. With new information, everything that we learn alters, and at times there can be a challenge to let go of what was previously known or believed. Research is knowing that what you know will be altered as information becomes available. There are many lessons that you will learn in your time in this course. I have provided you both a brief and in-depth overview of what is to come. There are still areas we need to discuss, but I want you to take the time to reflect on what I've shared so far. I will be making a follow-up video to explain the areas not included in this lecture. I hope I didn't overwhelm you with all this information. This information will help you understand the elements of researching. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email me. Let's start this journey together so that we can help better our society's current conditions. Every research conducted answers a question that addresses a problem that was previously hidden or widely ignored. Students, the best message that I could give to students is always ask questions, because the answer that follows can change the world. Again, if you guys need any assistance or have any questions, please do not hesitate to email me. Have a good day.